Hello students, I am Dr. Anurag Verma, a professor in zoology in Sri Chaitanya. We were doing the topic in zoology called reproductive system. Let us now continue with the further topic. Before that, a quick revision of what we have done yesterday. Yesterday we started with the topic. Beginning, we have started the main terminology in reproduction and then the sequence of events in the reproductive process. Followed by, we started with the male reproductive system, and in that system, first of all, we started with the main terms and the main organs in that system. After that, we have done the detailed anatomy of the testes. Finally, we have done a comparison of vasa efferentia and vasa deferentia. And now, let's continue with the further topics. Now, this is a section of seminiferous tubule. You know that? Seminiferous tubules are present in the testicular compartments. Those compartments are called testicular lobules. And can you remember how many lobules are there approximately? Yes, there are 250 lobules in each testis. And these tubules are present in the lobules, in the compartments. 1, 2, 3 in number. Now, this is the diagram I have shown here. These are the cut ends you can see, and this is the one which I have shown in detail. Now these cells which I have drawn in white color, these are the male germ cells. Usually the germ cells are cuboidal in nature. And you see these tall cells. These tall cells are called the Sertoli cells. Not to forget, these are the Sertoli cells. My dear students, the Sertoli cells are also known as the sustentacular cells. They are also known as the nurse cell because they nourish the developing spermatozoa. Here you see the different processes, the different stages of the development of the sperms, and these are the finally differentiated sperms you see here. This is the interstitium. This is the ground tissue, also called the interstitium. And these are some group of cells in the interstitium. And can you recall what these cells are known as? Yes, these cells are called the Leydig cells. As they are present in the interstitium, they are also called the interstitial cells. So Leydig cells are also known as the interstitial cells. Why? Because they are present in the interstitium. This ground tissue, this ground connective tissue, this is all the interstitium. And these cells present in the interstitium, we can also call them interstitial cell. My dear student, don't forget what these cells produce. These cells produce the androgens. They produce androgens. What are androgens? These are the male sex hormones. And the main androgen we have in humans is testosterone. The main androgen in male humans is testosterone. So we can also say they produce testosterone, but ideally we should say they produce androgens, the male sex hormones. These androgens are steroidal hormones. Dear students, for our ease, what I have done, I have enlarged this part here. So this yellow colored line that I have shown, which is a basement membrane, I have now shown here, and this is what is there. This is a detailed one, enlarged one. So this is a basement membrane. These cells are the germ cells. Germ cells are also called spermatogonium. Spermatogonium. Gonium. What does gonium means? Gonium means mother cells. Gonium means mother cells. So spermatogonium means sperm mother cells. You may also notice some places where it is written spermatogonia. What's that? It is the plural of spermatogonium. Hope that makes sense. Now students, so these are germ cells, the primary spermatocyte. These germ cells, they divide by mitosis. So now they become primary spermatocytes, and then they start maturing, and the maturation is done by meiotic division. You see here, after first meiotic division, they become secondary spermatocyte, and finally, after the second meiotic division, they become the spermatids. The young one of sperms, we can say. What is sperms? Spermatozoan. In short, we can call it sperms. But the real term is spermatozoan. Spermatozoa, plural of spermatozoan. And these spermatids, these are the haploid cells. They are the truly haploid cells, and now they differentiate and they become the spermatozoa. So spermatids, and then they differentiate into spermatozoa, wherein lot of morphological changes occur in the cell. There is a head, they have a tail, they have a middle piece, and they become, but still these cells are non-motile. Still, these cells are attached to the Sertoli cell. Later on, they detach from the Sertoli cell, and then they are released out, eventually out from the seminiferous tubule into the rete testis. Yesterday, we have seen the pathway of seminiferous tubule, then rete testis, then vasa efferentia, after that epididymis and the vas deferens. My dear students, in the topic of spermatogenesis, we will learn various steps, how they are formed, and what are the different terminology which are used in spermatogenesis. Students, let's compare the two cells, Sertoli cells and the Leydig cells. Now recall from the previous part of the chapter, Sertoli cells, they are present in the seminiferous tubules. Right? They are in between the germinal cells, and the hormone which stimulates Sertoli cell is follicle stimulating hormone produced by anterior pituitary. And in return, Sertoli cells produce two hormones. One is inhibin. It is a proteinaceous hormone, and another protein called androgen binding protein. As the name indicates, androgen binding, it concentrates testosterone inside the seminiferous tubule. Again, it concentrates testosterone inside the seminiferous tubule. This inhibin controls the secretion of FSH. It controls or suppresses the secretion of FSH. This is a very, very important question in the examination. Which cell stimulate, which hormone stimulate these cells? And then what these cells produce, and what is, how FSH is suppressed. Let's now come to the Leydig cells. Recall what they are also known as interstitial cells. Why? Because they are present in the interstitium. Interstitium of the lobule, testicular lobules. Leydig cells are stimulated by a hormone called LH, a luteinizing hormone produced by anterior pituitary, and Leydig cells produce androgens. And the main androgen is testosterone. And remember, the extra level of testosterone, the high level of testosterone will suppress the LH secretion by a negative feedback control. So, these are the cells and these are the important cells. Now, let us see the diagram of the male reproductive system. This is the diagram of the male reproductive system. Let's see each and every part very carefully. Now, this is the urinary bladder, and to the bladder are connected these two tubes. These are called the ureters. And recall what they do, they bring the urine from the kidney to the urinary bladder. So, we have a pair of ureter and one urinary bladder. Now, let us come to this system. We have done these are the testes, and to the side of the testes, posterior side of the testes, these are highly coiled tubule called epididymis, caput epididymis, then corpus epididymis and cauda epididymis. And you can recall from the cauda epididymis what starts? These are the vas deferens. So, these are the vas deferens that you see, and this is the outer skin of the scrotum. So, this is the pouch of skin called scrotum, and these are the fibers through which it is connected to the base of the scrotum. These are called the gubernaculum. Okay. Then this is a male copulatory organ, the penis. It is made up of erectile tissue, the tissue where when blood gets engorged in the veins, it becomes erect. This part of the penis is called the glans penis, and this is the loose foreskin on the glans penis called the prepuce. Dear student, this prepuce can be cut surgically, and that surgery is known as circumcision. And circumcision is also done as a religious ritual in certain communities. Well, coming back, and you recall this is the urethral opening, the urethral meatus, the scrotum, and now let us talk about the very, very important accessory sex glands in man. Number 1, seminal vesicle. These are two seminal vesicle. Remember, they are in pair too. Prostate gland. This apple shaped gland, like an apple, it exactly looks like an apple, and this is a single apple shaped gland called the prostate. And these are bulbourethral glands, bulb like, and they are opening into the urethra, bulbourethral glands. So, this one is the third one. Second one is the prostate, and third one is the bulbourethral glands. Bulbourethral glands are also in pair. These are in pair, these are in pair, and this is a single one. Now, the vas deferens is ascending up and entering into the abdominal cavity through the inguinal canal, and then it turns around the ureter, and then it adds or it joins with the duct of seminal vesicle, and the common duct, again vas deferens and the duct of seminal vesicle, when they are merged, the common duct which is formed is known as ejaculatory duct. Very, very important question, ejaculatory duct. This is formed by the merger of vas deferens and the duct of seminal vesicle. And another question, where is the ejaculatory duct open? Yes, it opens in the urethra. Very, very important, not to forget, this is the urethra. This complete is the urethra. It's urethra. So, these glands, they open in the urethra. What open? Seminal vesicle open in the urethra. This prostate gland opens in the urethra and bulbourethral glands open in the urethra. And urethra opens finally as urethral meatus or urinogenital aperture. Urinogenital aperture. It is called urinogenital because it carries urine as well as semen that contains sperm and that helps in genesis. Genital, concerned with reproduction. Urinogenital aperture. Remember, in females we cannot call urethra as the urinogenital duct because in females it carries only urine, but in case of males, as you can see, it is bringing the sperm from here and these glands are secreting their fluid, then it is becoming semen and then it can come out through the urethra. Also, the urine which is stored here can also be expelled out through the urethra. Now, my dear student, the accessory reproductive ducts in males, recall them: retrotestis, vasa efferentia, epididymis, then vas deferens. All of an ejaculatory duct, all of them, they can store the sperms and can also nourish the sperm. The sperms become motile in these ducts. The secretion of seminal vesicle, prostate and bulbourethral gland forms a fluid medium for sperm which is called semen. The fluid medium for sperm called semen. So, one should be very careful about understanding the difference between sperms and semen. Sperms, the short form of spermatozoa, which is the male germ cell, male gamete. Semen is a fluid medium where some nutrients are there, calcium are there and some important enzymes are there. These enzymes are proteolytic enzymes. And semen is secreted by the combined secretion of seminal vesicle, prostate and bulbourethral gland. Apart from that, the bulbourethral gland secretion also helps in lubrication of the penis. The secretion also helps in lubrication of the penis so that it can facilitate into coitus. So that after lubrication, the lubrication can facilitate the coitus. Hope, my dear students, you have understood the diagram, and now let us see the other part of this chapter. Dear students, let us now summarize the semen and also learn some associated points. Now, recall that semen is produced by combined secretion of seminal vesicles, yes, then prostate gland and bulbourethral glands. Here I am just adding bulbourethral gland is also called the Cowper's gland. Cowper's gland or bulbourethral gland. Now, seminal vesicles produce the maximum bulk of the semen. The secretion is alkaline. The secretion of seminal vesicle is alkaline. It also contains prostaglandins. It also contains prostaglandins. The short form is PGE. PGE is the abbreviation for prostaglandins. Main thing which is produced by the seminal vesicle is fructose. Fructose provides energy to the spermatozoa. Very important point. Fructose is not found any other place in the body. The human body does not produce fructose. It is only present in the semen. Now, how this important fact can be utilized in forensic medicine. Forensic. The word forensic means pertaining to law, legal, where the law and medical sciences are combined, and medical sciences is helping the law. In forensics, the presence of fructose in the vagina of a female confirms sexual intercourse, confirms the presence of semen inside the vagina. Many a times it is used as an evidence for rape in rape victims. So, very important about the fructose. The prostate glands, their secretion is slightly acidic, about 25% of the seminal plasma is produced by prostate, and it is acidic due to citric acid, and citric acid is a form of nutrient for the sperm. It is a form of nutrient for the sperm. Let us now summarize the semen here. What are the components in the semen? Semen, the pH of semen, average pH is 7.4. Average pH is 7.4. This is important. It is slightly alkaline, so as to neutralize the acidity of the urine, because it has to pass through the same urethra, so that it can neutralize the acidity of the urine. Semen contains sperms, the hormone prostaglandins, fructose, the energy source, calcium, citric acid, and certain proteolytic enzymes, certain other enzymes like phosphatase, etc. Hope you have understood all these, and now let us move to the next part of this point. Dear students, let us now talk about the male copulatory organ, which is penis. And this diagram is the transverse section of penis. What you see here, outermost is the skin, and then this dense connective tissue, which is called tunica albuginea. Tunica albuginea. Now, these are the two erectile rods, and these are the main erectile tissue inside the penis, and they are called corpora cavernosa. They are two in number, corpora cavernosa, two in number, and when their arteries expand, blood is engorged in the vessels, in the spaces, and hence these two cylinders, they erect, making the penis stand and erect. This is another tissue which is called corpus spongiosum. Inside corpus spongiosum is present the urethra. These are the blood vessels, deep cutaneous, subcutaneous vein, then it is a deep dorsal vein, these are the central arteries. So, these are the blood vessels of the penis. Hope you have understood the structure, and hope you have understood the male reproductive system. Dear students, now we move to the female reproductive system. Dear students, let us now address one question. What is the amount of semen released in a single ejaculate? It's approximately 3 to 4 ml per ejaculate. Number 2, number of spermatozoa present in a single ejaculate. Now, this number is very high, very interesting. It is 200 to 300 million. 200 to 300 million spermatozoa in an average quantity approx 3 ml, 3 to 4 ml. And how many of them are required to fertilize, or how many of them fertilizes an ovum? 1 in 200 or 300 million fertilizes the ovum. Another interesting point and an important point for examination, for normal fertility, 60% of them should have normal shape and size. 60% should have normal structure. They should have a normal structure. And out of these 60%, 40% of them should be vigorously motile. They should be vigorously motile. Although only one sperm fertilizes, but in that process also we need about 60% healthy sperm, and out of these healthy sperm 40% should be vigorously motile. Now we will take the disorders of the male reproductive system one by one. First one is benign hypertrophy of prostate. It is commonly referred to as BHP. In medical terminology, it is commonly referred to as BHP. Now, this is a benign. Benign means it is non-cancerous. Hypertrophy, enlargement of the tissue. It is a non-cancerous enlargement of prostate. Remember, this is non-cancerous. It occurs in old age. It compresses the urethra. So, it causes dysuria. Dysuria means difficult urination. Difficult urination. It also causes nocturia. Means frequent urination in the night. Nocturia, frequent urination in the night. And it is common in old age, benign hypertrophy of prostate. Impotency and sterility. Let's compare these two terms. Impotency. Impotency means the inability of a man to hold an erection, so that the insemination is not possible. That person is called an impotent. Wherein sterility, it is the inability of the sperms to fertilize the ovum. That is sterility. Remember, an impotent person may not be sterile, and an sterile person not necessarily is an impotent. These two are different terms. Cancer of the prostate, the most common malignancy. Malignancy is another term for cancer. Cancer. Most common malignancy in males these days. Most common malignancies in males, that is prostatic carcinoma, cancer of the prostate. So, this one is cancerous, it is benign, impotency and sterility, and the cryptorchidism is a condition of undescended testes into the scrotum. At the time of birth, the scrotum is empty. We have done this cryptorchidism earlier. Hope you have understood all these terms. My dear students, in the next class, we will be doing the female reproductive system. Let's conclude today's lecture. What all we have done. We started with the seminiferous tubule, the transverse section of the seminiferous tubule, and the internal structure. We have seen the functions of Leydig cells and Sertoli cells, the hormones associated with the Leydig and Sertoli cells. After that, we have seen the detailed anatomy of the male reproductive system. After that, the brief functions of different parts of the male reproductive system. We have seen the semen, the constituents of semen, what glands make the semen, and finally, we have done some disorders associated with the female reproductive system. Hope to see you in the next class. Here I am Dr. Anurag Verma. I am signing off We will meet in the next class.